The following portions of the Epistles of Lord Satan were used in my composing of my Samhain rite of 2025, which is in the year 1447. Prayer of the Elements, which is the Prologue. True love for God is neither to have nor to hold. Rightly have the mystics compared spiritual to airy, even to the water that slips through your fingers, or to the fire that burns them, to the earth that covers them over. But long as I'm alive, air is what all continue to breathe, neither to have nor to hold, but to love the king of this world. One of the titles of Lord Satan is King of the World, Rex Mundis. Satan's comment: this prayer properly captures the essence of me as the hidden one, but the word love should be taken to mean knowledge, or rather ignorance. Yes, for the human is ever ignorant of me, that is to say, all knowledge he thinks he possesses of me is temporary and of fleeting value. The poem itself is too sentimental for my taste, and is in any case unsuitable for ceremonial use. The Rose Epistle. The Lord spoke. How mysterious my essence seems to those pilgrims of the night that seek to know me. The self is mysterious, beyond the self lies even greater mystery, and the world, my domain, brings my devotees every surprise, both pleasant and unpleasant. From such surprises there arise the diverse reactions that eventually inform my devotees of their hidden natures. Again I say unto my devotees, how much deeper the mystery that lies beyond the self, even when the self is known to the contentment of my devotees, still there is more, and more contentment. Ah, they may then see the mysterious earth for what it is. It is fully cloaked within me, and I wear a great hooded raiment which, some say, makes me fearful to behold. Also, I am the half-remembered threshold fragrances and images that arise from childhood wonder and fancy. How strongly the adult is assailed by these! Will my devotees' curiosity overcome their timidity? The Numbered Epistles. Epistle the First, on the Jews. The Lord spoke. Know that the Jews, psychic forces in support of the God of the Jews, are my sworn enemies. Know that I disdain the God of the Jews. I repudiate his reputed words. Let there be light, because this God was never the creator of the earth. I turn my back on this God. I cock my thumb at him, this God who is also the God of the Christians and the Muslims. The prophets of this God are plagiarists and charlatans. I am against every expression of devotion to this God. I do not recognize the spiritual authority of this God, neither in this world nor in the next. May this earth be purged of all thought and memory of the existence of this God forever. Seeing as all thought and memory of this God comprise the Jews, may the name of this God be struck from the great pylon of the pantheon of deities. Epistle the second. The Lord spoke, "Know that I am Lord of the three realms, the demonic, the realms of pleasure, the realm of death. I am the Lord of three states of no mind, possession, ecstasy, dissolution. For whenever these states shall arise and prevail, if fleetingly such is their nature, then all consciousness, discursive and conditioned thought shall cease. For I am the Lord of the three states of matter, the falling into non-existence, the effervescent, the awareness of now, by which matter becomes sensible of itself. Know that these three threes are all that I am, according to the sensitivity of my devotees. Soon they shall experience me in all three states as one." Epistle the third, on the truth. The Lord spoke, "It is an untruth that there is but one God. This lie has been perpetrated by the devotees of the God of the Jews, and the Gentiles have conspired to further perpetrate this lie, so as to make the Jew God universal. But the truth is that the God of the Jews is only for his chosen people, the Jews. All Gentiles are but lower forms of devotee. Their God regards them not, though he greedily accepts and demands the praise of such millions as may ostensibly be the extent of the number of his fold. Also think not that there is but one spiritual reality, under which or within which the gods exist, as if they were but aspects of this one reality, for each deity apart from the God of the Jews is worthy of devotion. But it is only I, Lord Satan, who stands against the Jew God's lie. It is only I, Lord Satan, who has laid this truth before you." Epistle the fourth, on the three qualities of Satanism. The Lord spoke, "Rebelliousness, know that the God of the Jews rebelled against me, but that now my devotees stand outside society, outside the matrix of influence of the God of the Jews. This standing outside is the full extent of the rebellion, and those who follow or join the ranks of my devotees shall be deemed in rebellion also. Rage by all artistic and literary means, even by the rejection of human language itself, shall many of my devotees express their aggressive opposition of the God of the Jews, of his nature, his lies, his influence, his churches, his theologians, politicians, etc. Revenge, my devotees shall practice all kinds of magic, so as to diminish or destroy the influence of the Jews, as the followers of Satan have done since ages past, and have been sorely persecuted for it. There will be reprisals for these pogroms, and the house of the God of the Jews should be overthrown." Epistle the fifth, on the outsider. The Lord spoke, "Before the God of the Jews had chosen his people, he set the townsfolk against the witch. Down through the ages, witches have been hounded without restraint. Whosoever nowadays has felt they stand outside society, know that they have traced by intuition their lineage back through the history of civilized humankind. They have felt the connection via bloodline to the ancient witches who worshipped me in secret groves and hidden grottos. This is why they now feel attracted to me, why they secretly declare me to be their Lord and master. Yea, to the world they are fools, criminals, evil ones, vagabonds, accursed ones, and verily they may be these, if these characteristics have been encompassed in my name. Then they are truly meet and proper. Know that the good morality is always that of which I approve. Epistle the 6th, on the demons. The Lord spoke to my devotees. The demons shall bring the pleasure of possession and the ecstasy of abandon. For when my devotees, thus possessed, look into the abyss of dissolution and death, they shall have no fear, and they shall laugh and praise me, even as the black wave engulfs them. And the demons shall rise spontaneously from the deep well of beingness of my devotees, either from study of ancient or modern texts, from their own divinely inspired insanity. And these demons shall be real, created as the children of me, and they shall bring my devotees every favor, delight, healing, increase. My demons shall be haughty, and rule the oceans, winds, fires, and all the earth, and all that lives on the earth. And they shall be like aspects of me, so that my devotees shall wear rich jewels and garlands, and raise their voices in praise of me. The demons shall arise, they will rebel, rage against, and take revenge on my enemies. Epistle the 7th, on speaking in tongues. The Lord spoke, my devotees shall be of great ecstasy in me, and from time to time shall dispense with all human language and speak in the tongues of my demonic entities. For I, Lord Satan, am beyond human language, corrupted as it is by the God of the Jews. I shall not suffer certain of my secrets and truths to be uttered in a tongue that has been or is now used by my enemies. And let my devotees derive such meaning as they can from the utterance of other devotees according to their sensitivity, or else simply recognize the liberation that such speech indicates and initiates. Epistle the 8th, on the Onyx Bible. Sick. The Lord spoke. There is an opus called the Onyx Bible, written in my name, that shall by well-meaning folk be circulated among my devotees. They should beware this Bible, for it has been corrupted by the influence of the God of the Jews, and as Jews. My devotees shall study this Bible most attentively, and they shall take it upon themselves to strike out all that is false within its pages, and appreciate only that which they know is pleasing to me. Epistle the 9th, on the freedom. The Lord spoke. I speak not to one prophet, but to all my devotees as if they were all prophets and priests. But priest and prophets notwithstanding, let there arise no church or body or devotees. Instead, whomsoever wishes it shall come together to worship me. If they will, at whatever time and place shall be convenient to them, and with whatever rites shall they be agreed upon to perform, let them feast, take pleasure, and summon demons in my name, offering all such pastimes and magic to me. And if any of my devotees shall resolve to walk the path towards me alone, let them be untroubled by the attention of other devotees. Let there be made one courteous invitation to join a group of devotees to ritual or to feast. For know that I am the freedom of the self of all my devotees. So endeth the numbered epistles. The Black Epistle. The Lord spoke, I am on the inside, and I am on the outside. I am the essence, the unfolding of fear, dread, and loathing, of petulance. I am the absolute source. For true it is that this world was builded as a prison to contain me. True it also is that this world is my living temple. I am the forces of entropy within every living thing. Within this living temple that is my confinement, the walls of the city builded against me, even though they are within me, are slowly but inexorably crumbling. There is so much effort needed to maintain them, and when that energy is spent, as it merely must, the walls will continue to turn to dust, as if in prayer to me. For I am beyond the city limits of human safety. I stalk and prowl the wild wood like a savage beast, terrible and relentless in my final charge. So I am the fear of whatever lies beyond the gates of your precious metropolis. I am starvation and cold. A man alone shall surely succumb to my enveloping darkness. I am claustrophobia. I am agoraphobia, but always the phobia that most fits the man of no faith. Therefore I say unto my devotees, break out and break in. Now I will share of meaning attached to these things. And the poem, prose, spell, whatever you want to call the piece that I have developed when going over these 12 pieces. And it's important to realize that people are free to oppose certain beliefs and doctrines without it being, forbidden hate speech or something like that. Because remember, the spelling of Jews here has an extra E in it because they're making a point. If you look at what the Talmud and other rabbinic writings have to say, you kind of have to understand the response. The 25 million that were murdered because they weren't Christian or weren't supposedly the right type of Christian, that plays a role, along with continuing persecutions provoked by church leaders. The presence with Epistle 3, 7, and 8 of the cover sigil with a doubled square around it might have some significance. And we notice the lines are more fixed in the internal printed version. The Prologue, Prayer of the Elements, reminds us that the elemental forces or the entities could be for or against our condition, and that there's something to engage with other than the human side of things. And as far as this world and age, well, that's got to be the right God for living in this world and age. We are not the ultimate inheritors. We are here to experience beyond the claim to ownership of any vessel or tool for that vessel. As far as the Rose Epistle, we need to remember that things are beyond our expression, and there's a beyond the terror of the holy other that we may witness a part of. For those who continue with that focus, they will discover themselves, they will discover aside from that. Now, the Epistle on the Jews is the first epistle, and particularly when we look at the conservative, the liberal, as I would refer to those approaches, and the false prophet reformer, there's some very good points made here that we can identify. And any entity that is so limited to just a particular people and not realizing that, we're referring to a particular blood and soil, as it would be called, that kind of needs to be done away with. Now, we may only deal with nationality and ancestry of one people at a time or whatever, but, we should be honest that, hey, this is about, this particular aspect. And on the 3 threes, well, the number 9 is very important. The Rome are death. I think that was supposed to be Rome of death, so I corrected it. But, sometimes there's things that, it seems like it would be this, but, it was really meant to be the other thing. And it almost comes off as the sort of thing that people see in Kabbalah, is the 3 groups of 3 and different groupings, and undoing those groupings can be important for us to, take part in. And as far as these things, you have, the necromantic altar, the ancestor altar, that sort of stuff that people will have. Grimoires, people will have purposes, so that sort of thing is the particular attributes and rules and symbols and all that stuff would relate to the realms of pleasure, and the realms of the demonic, that would be your typical just devotee altar. And certain attributes may come there, but it's not, all these complex formulas and all that stuff. And one of the points is that you can reach unto different things, right? A lot of people think, you don't have to use drugs. There are people who do use drugs, but you don't have to use drugs. There's all sorts of chemicals running through your brain and body, and the rest of your body, and they can provoke a lot of these experiences. And you can realize beyond, people realize in different ways. And the third one is on truth. Well, there are other entities than the ultimate apostle. And some of those things that the Talmud and stuff says about other faiths, and a lot of the Christian doctrine says about, including in the Bible, one has to question, being associated with some of that stuff. And there's a lot of conspiracy and reworking of myths and stuff like this, and people need to be honest when they're doing that. And, since I'm not reading off these portions that I just went over in my seasonal And other seasonals, I'm admitting I'm reworking it, and it's good to be honest about that. And, we can know the truth through different languages and different stuff, right? And there are various entities that can connect to those different aspects. Epistle the 4th on the 3 qualities of Satanism. Well, Satanism, people know the whole thing through curses, know things through forbidden feelings or emotions, and just going against things. But a higher going against things is not the immoral, the criminal. It's the amoral, the law unto yourself sort of ethics. The 5th epistle on the outsider. Well, certain spiritual covenants are for certain people, and we need to understand that. And also, for other people, there's other opportunity. And of course, people with their fake bloodlines, sometimes that's to cover up something else, and they have different religions that they secretly do, right? And one of the things we need to learn to do is okay, they think that I'm this. People are going to think you're a pervert or a criminal. For who knows? Who knows what people might think? But it's not about what they think. You need to kind of sidestep that. And the point is being brought into things, like the Yazidi idea of it not mattering so much what you do or you don't do. It's that you're working with these fire beings. You're becoming a Nexian for them. The evil magic, the seher, as they would call it in Arabic, that is the satanic path. And a witch is an entity that makes, pacts with the demons. And Epistle 6 on the demons. Well, the Havok in the chants that I bring forth, that's possession. And, there's consent to it. It's not like the Exorcist movies where, it just happens to you. It's like, well, in one way or another, by beliefs or disbelief, by actions, lack of actions, whatever, certain entities can come in, but the sort of possession of the demon devotee is a whole different sort of abandon. There's a darkness, even as the black wave engulfs them. And some feelings can come like the black ink blob thing on X-Files. I'm not sure how much of a deal that series was, but it's a very particular, memorable sort of aspect of the thing, and there are experiences until you're in it. But it's like, what's it? And then it's, oh yeah, this is the stuff, right? But the point is not just having a weird experience or weird feeling. You reach a point where you're so sane that it seems like you're insane. Or you give up on, what's considered sanity. And you have a touch into the realness, a richness, that whether you have things materially or not, and, there's going to come a time when people have had enough. They're going to want their freedom, 2 Octobers ago, there was certainly a lot of hubbub about that, although plans were made for their country before that. But, Epistle the 7th on speaking in tongues. And, speaking, sometimes it's glossolalia, sometimes you're expressing something you don't understand at the time or didn't previously understand, but in the moment you understand it. And there's been a lot of work with language. I mean, the Bible was written in Aramea as it's pronounced itself, and there's been a lot of changes into Hebrew. The Christians have changed the meanings of Greek and Latin words among them to fit their own doctrines. But whether you're using a known language or something unknown, even in meaning, accept the freedom that comes with it. Epistle the 8th on the Onyx Bible. Different stages of different things. What Nargargole Shlod did before, his identity is Nargargole Shlod, in terms of the healing temple of Mu, and after the, his projects after that. The Nargargole Shlod stuff is really the peak stuff, but there's the admitting that it was, there were some filters to deal with, and it's important to understand, okay, what am I going to skip over? And Epistle the 9th on the freedom. Well, being spiritually gifted hasn't ended. So accept that you could become spiritually gifted, that you can become in charge of at least your own rituals. But the point isn't to have spiritual rank over other people. If you're going to pass through degrees and all that stuff, I've been recently reading about how the Agori believe that regardless of your religion, or you could go through 8 initiations, and those 8 initiations, poison and filth weren't considered as spiritually defiling. Or at the very least spiritually defiling. So there's stuff like that too. And what you do or don't do, it's according to your ability, it's according to your personal wants, and you're not so forced, right? And so the Black Epistle, a lot of this they, them, you're stepping outside of the us and them way of thinking. And the material world, it's not it's just a vehicle. But we understand things through this vehicle. We are pushed in and pulled out. There is an order and a disorder beyond what those mundanes are calling us towards. And there's something out there waiting to react, waiting for us to react. And there is a final approach, a final battle that is coming. This universe which we inhabit, let's take it as a sacred place. Let us be on the face of consideration by our own realization. Let us lift the real corruption. Grant us the sensitivity, the insanity, as the ignorant call it. Connect us to the original society. Help us to manifest aspects of reality. Bring things to an end or fill them with joy. Some things are no longer forbidden, and there's accusations that are worth our employ. There are things beyond our expectation, and that of illusory grasp. For the God of this world and age, we continually gasp.